Hello everyone, welcome to day 147 of playing chess every day for you. Let's find the game. Starting is white here. I'll go for e4. Get the French defense. I could defend against this move with knight out, or by pushing c3. I could also go for c4 myself. I think I'll just develop my knight. I'd like to develop my bishop to b5, just so that I always have the chance of castling early in the game. My opponent takes. I could go for check now, and if blocks I take. So check now, if blocks I take here, and the knight is pinned and I can win material. So check now, if the bishop blocks I just trade and then take. I think check now is the right move. If the knight blocks I just take here. My opponent also has their own check, but I just block. If this move comes though, that's very bad for me, so I have to be very careful of that queen check. I think I might have to castle early. This queen check seems very dangerous, but it doesn't happen, so this pawn will be weak. I might have to take with my queen here. The knight does take. I can't take with the knight because I lose a pawn. I think I'll take with the queen here. Castling seems good. The bishop comes in. I have no checks. I could move my queen to pin the knight. Then if this move comes, this move to pin the knight seems very good. It also stops a check. Queen a4 seems strong. I do like queen a4. This move's not possible because of the pin. This pawn's a weakness for me. I could try to come in and trade the pawn off. So bishop g5, if the bishop g5 they block, they can't actually block with the knight because my pawn is there. But bishop g5, if they block this way, I'm happy because I trade away my weakness, but then I'd lose control of the center, so I'm not sure if it's a good move. Well, now my opponent's just giving me a chance to actually go for the pin on the knight, so I'll build up some pressure here. If they kick me, I'm forced to take. The d7 knight is pinned, and the e7 knight is pinned to the queen. I could go to kick the bishop away by playing b4, forcing the bishop back one square. Pushing f6 is not possible. I have so much pressure on my opponent right now. If they castle, I think I could take, but I think I just need to castle myself and develop this knight. Kicking my bishop, I could go back here, and if they play this, no, I wouldn't have a sacrifice, but taking now lets my opponent take with the bishop, but then I could castle. I could go back with my bishop. I think I'll just go for the trade and castle. I'm wondering if the queen takes or the bishop takes. Queen takes is probably better. The queen does take. I can just castle now. This move is still not possible because of the pin. I'll just castle my king. Could develop my knight, but I think just bringing this knight at the moment is better. Trying to jump to this active square. If I can add more pressure on this knight, be able to win it, but there's no real way to do that right now. I can bring my rooks to the center, and then probably if I can bring my rook, so the knight does move now to target my queen. I could simply just slide up, but then I get kicked and my position's bad. My queen can't go to any of these squares. Could go here. Though I think queen up allows me to just escape if I ever need to. So I would like to play queen up. Queen up if the knight comes in to block. That seems very annoying. Could play queen here. Although queen up seems good just for the escape path, so queen up. I am seeing that this push is possible. If this push happens, I have to play here. My queen gets attacked once again. I could just slide back. I think I'll slide back to d3. I don't see anywhere else I can go. That would be safe for my queen. Back here seems not great. Play queen d3. There are no knight moves that could be dangerous, except for knight to c4. I want to remove this bishop, which is very annoying for me, so I could bring this knight in, but I guess it'd have no squares after. I think I play knight to a4 next, if the knight moves. I need to bring my rooks to the center and start kicking away the bishop and knight. b3 seems like a good move, stopping the knight from coming in, but that doesn't let me play b4. And the bishop is actually almost trapped. So if I could only play b4 or b4, maybe I can play b4 because if the bishop takes. So I am seeing this bishop sacrifice to attack the knight, but I don't see anything else there. If I play b4 now, the bishop has to move. The bishop has to go here or here, and I'll lose the bishop. b4, b4 the bishop takes. So b4 if the bishop takes, I play rook over. And then if the rook takes though, I'm in trouble. b4 bishop takes, I go here. The rook takes, my queen's undefended. But then I could slide up to hit the rook and the knight. I think b4 makes sense in this position. I just activate my rook, have pressure on the knight, and I'm always able to escape with my queen to target two pieces. I think I'll actually go for b4 in this position. The bishop has to take, otherwise the bishop is lost. If the bishop takes with check, that doesn't do anything. It's just a waste of material. I think b4 is a strong move. And so if the bishop takes, I play this move. And then I'm hitting the bishop. My knight does hang. If the rook takes, I slide up. And then the knight hangs, the bishop hangs. And everything sees each other. So the bishop does take. Now I play rook b1. Which x-rays the knight. If the rook takes, I slide up. I guess maybe if the queen comes in, that's a good move, but I don't have a knight sacrifice. The bishop's hanging, the knight is pressured. The bishop takes, I just take. And then I'm happy. The position is completely opened up now. Rook takes, I slide my queen up. And then if the queen comes in after we trade, I think I lose one pawn, but if the rook takes and I slide up, if the queen comes in, I can actually take the bishop with my rook. That's a strong move, locking in the bishop, but yeah, so taking there isn't possible right now. But now that they've played a5, I can just play a3. And if the bishop takes again, I just take the knight. a3 forcing the bishop. Then I guess the bishop can go here, which is very annoying. But then I have the chance of bringing my knight in. Seems very strong. But now if I play a3 and the rook takes, I have to slide up. And if the bishop takes, it's just a complex position. I think I'll play a3 though. Rook takes, I slide up. If bishop takes, I take. But the bishop can't actually take if the rook takes, because I take the bishops. I take the rook. So now the knight hangs, the bishop hangs, my rook's very powerful. Wherever the bishop moves, if the bishop moves here, I take the rook. And if the bishop takes, that's a blunder because I take the rook. This move, I take the rook. If rook takes, we just take. The knight's hanging, the bishop's hanging, the rook's in a terrible position. This move, I take here. I'm down 4 points of material, but my opponent has hanging pieces. I guess if the knight moves... No, but if the knight moves here, after we trade, I'm up material. If the knight leaves, I win the bishop. I think I win material here, no matter what happens. This move lets me take the rook, and then I'd be attacking the pawn. Taking the pawn lets me just take the rook. Going here lets me take the knight. Very wild position here. I think even though I'm down material, I'm about to win some back. And so the knight jumps in. But it doesn't actually threaten anything. And once I take here, I can actually capture the pawn back, and then these two pieces will be hanging. Or the rook will be hanging. I think the right move here is to take the bishop and go into this. I can't take the rook. Can't take the knight. I take the bishop here. The rook is hanging. I can't actually recapture, wow. Because then that would hang the rook. If the queen comes in, I can't double up on the pawn. My knight can't really do much. I think I'll double up on the pawn. I'm down material, but I have pressure. Rook b2 is such a silly move. I just hang my rook in one move. It's such a terrible move. I don't know why I played rook b2. I thought that I'd have an attack on the rook. The move makes no sense. Knight to c4 now and I'm losing. I'm just down material. I think now I have to play knight to d2 and go into this trade. The knight takes, I take here. Yeah, if the knight takes on d2, I have to go here and take on b4. Anchoring in the knight still lets me just take though. No, I can't take. If I take, the rook takes. Wow. I've thrown away my advantage completely this game. If I take, the queen just takes. If I could disconnect the queen, it would be good for me, but... So if I take, the rook takes. I can't even actually take her. I know I should keep material on the board, but I think I'm completely lost anyway after hanging my rook. Rook takes the best move. Then I just play pawn takes. So I could go after the pawn with queen b6. Go after this pawn, queen b6 to attack it. But here, rook. I'm completely lost. I'll play queen b6. If they push now, I can trade down. But then I'm losing. My whole plan was to control this b file. To have pressure, but I played rook b2, just hanging my rook. On move 20. Queen b6, hitting this twice. The rook has to move. I guess if I take, the rook takes here, so I don't even win the rook. They push, I could trade down now. Takes, rook takes. It's just losing. Could come in, but then if this happens, I lose this rook. I even have back rank problems, so I need to be careful. And pawn takes. I can't even take with the rook because of back rank. It's so annoying, this game. Before I can take, I have to play h3. And they can push and just anchor in the rook. Down 7 points of material. If I can't win any material back, I can't win the game. With the rook and queen, I cannot trade anything this game, because I just lose. Now I have to keep everything on the board. I did trade my knight off, but I had nothing I could do anyway. The best move now is probably just queen in to trade the queen. But queen in, I take her to win a pawn, but I'm still completely lost because of their rook. But queen in, if I take her, yeah, I do win a pawn. Queen in, if I take and the rook takes, there hangs the queen. I'm able to take on b3 now. Queen a3. I didn't expect that move. It seems very good. It just forces a trade after rook c1. I mean, I'd win the pawn back, but it's a terrible position. And they can just stop pushing. There's no material that I can win. I could attack the rook, and if they push, there's nothing there. I'll just play queen d4. Queen d4 is probably a bad move because of the rook c1 and the forced trade. The pawn can actually just push. And that's what happens. The queen takes a check, and this can push now. And they push. I literally can't stop the promotion. Could play queen b4. Then I'd be down the queen. It's just a lost endgame. There's even an outside pass pawn. So this is just a lost endgame because of my blunder. It doesn't matter what I take here, I think it's to lose. I'd be down so much. I can try to hold on, but I think this move just essentially wins the game. The only way my pawn could blunder here is by playing f6. Giving the pawn. I'll keep playing, it's just a loss this game. Down 15 points of material now. 2 queens and a rook. And even an extra pawn. And queen check, I have to move my king. Then there's this check. And I have to block. This check, if I block, there's this check, which almost wins the game. They double up. They can take here now. Or here. If I step here, this falls. I have to step here. Then there's this move to just force queen trade. It's just completely losing here. Forcing a queen move does allow me to come in with checks, so my opponent still has to be careful, because if they manage to lose this game, that'll be quite embarrassing. If I step here, there isn't actually this mate because of the pawn. If I step here, there's this. Then I have to run. There's this. I think I'm able to run, just because the pawns hold each other. That check seems wrong. Lets me step here. And then there's no checks. My opponent still has to be very careful here. No blunder this game. I have 2 queens and a rook and an extra pawn for my queen, but now how do they protect this? They have to... I think they can't protect this, and they just have to give up this pawn. This pawn is pinned. A queen up, looking for this. Take a check, king moves. I can't actually take this. The rook blocks. The king steps here. Wow, that's very annoying. If I run my king now, well, if I run my king now, like, my opponent needs to be extra careful here. The rook is pinned to the king. They can't take here. They can take here. Oh, but I would lose the game. The queen takes here now. They have to go for this check. The rook blocks. Just I have to repeat. Wow. So I actually have this. Rook blocks, I have this. But if the king steps here after this check, I just have nothing there. The thing is, if the king moves, I can't even take the rook because this is just mate. This is mate, which is so annoying for me. Rook blocks once again. And I blunder, no! Okay, I didn't blunder because this defends the check, but I mouse slipped. I can't take the rook because of mate. I can't take the rook because this would be mate. And I can't move my king. I can protect against mate. I think this just wins the game though. But this pawn is pinned. This position is just so wild. They can just take here. Oh, there's mate by the king anyway. It's such a crazy game. Let's look at this game. A wild game. But even throughout the whole endgame, I still had no chance of winning the game. I played at a 78.3, my opponent an 85.8. I had 5 necracies and 3 mistakes. My opponent had 1 miss. I don't know why rook b2 doesn't count as a blunder, but I was just worse the whole game. Especially after my blunder. I played like an 1100, my opponent like a 1750. So I go into the French defense, which I don't play very often. Check is good, I can win the pawn with the queen. Queen a4 was a bad move, I should have just slid my queen down and given the pawn. Or not given it, just kept development. And c4 actually is a good move. Just undermining the center. A very important move. Queen g4 was better, I don't know why. I guess they'd never have a way to attack my queen easily because I'd just take with en passant. And so b4 was actually a horrible move. It just puts me in the worst position. I thought b4 would be a good move if after the bishop takes, but rook over is a bad move. The rook can take, but then I play here. My opponent missed rook takes. And a3 is also a bad move. Rook takes, I come in. The knight moves. I take the bishop. I am down 2 pawns. What I missed was that I'm not able to take the pawn. And then my worst move of the game came next, which was rook b2, which was just a silly move. For some reason I thought the knight was pinned. But the knight wasn't pinned to anything. And yeah, here I was already lost. My opponent just makes 2 queens. My opponent has checkmate in 5. I mouse slipped queen e7 when check was best. A huge blunder would be rook b to f7 because that would just blunder a draw. This is actually a drawn position. After you just have to keep repeating. blocking with the rook is wrong. I mouse slip queen e7 by accident. And even playing h5 doesn't stop mate because there's mate by the king. I don't know what f3 would do in this position, but it's my only move. And so I lose the game. I lost this game to, not really to b4. The worst move by far was just hanging my rook in one move. Just being down a heavy piece loses the game for me. This game. And even though it looks like I have a dangerous attack with my queen, there's just nothing there. And I lose the game. One move loses me the game today. Very annoying. But thank you guys for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.